Sarvajiva papanasha Karanam bhaveshwaram Svikritam cha garbhavasa Deha pasham idrisham Yapitam swalilayacha Yena divya jivanam Tam namami deva deva Rāmakrishna Ishvaram Sri Vivekanandani Satchishya Supojitaya Sri
quarter to 12. No, it's time. It's 3 o'clock. Time for dinner.
No. I did nothing. We did yesterday.
Are we good? This is on?
I think so.
Om
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Om Sahana Bhavatu. Sahanau Bhunaktu. Saha Viryam Karavavahai. Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Sahasrashirasham Devam Vishvaksham Vishvashambhuvam Vishwanarayanam Devam Aksharam Paramam Padam Vishvatah Paramam Nityam Vishwanarayanagam Harim Vishvamevedam Purushastad Vishvamupajivati Patim Vishvasyatmeshvaragam Shashvatagam Shivamakhyutam Narayanam Mahayeyam Vishvatmanam Parayanam Narayana Paro Jyotiratma Narayana Paraha Narayana Param Brahma Tattvam Narayana Paraha Narayana Paro Dhyata Jnanam Narayana Paraha Yaccha Kinchit Jagat Sarvam Drishyate Shruyate Piva Antarbahishya Tat Sarvam Vyapya Narayana Stitaha Anantamavayam Kavigam Samudrentam Vishvashambhuvam Padmakosha Pratikashagam Hridayam Chapyadhomukam Adho Nishtya Vidasyante Navyamuparitishyati Jvalamala Kulam Bhati Vishvasya Yatanam Mahate Santatagam Shila Viskulam Bhatya Kosha Sannibam Tasyante सुशिरगं सूक्ष्मं तस्मिन् सर्वं प्रतिष्ठितं तस्य मध्ये महानग्निर्विश्वाचिर्विश्वतो मुखः सो प्रभुर्विभजन्तिष्ठन्नाहारमजरः कविः तिर्यपूर्वमदशायी रश्मयस्तस्य सन्तता सन्तापयति स्वं देहमापादतलमस्तकः तस्य मध्ये वह्निशिखा अनीयो ऊर्ध्वा व्यवस्थितः नीलतो यदमस्त्यस्ताद्विद्युल्लेखेव भास्वरा नीवाशुकवद्धं विपीतवास्वत्यनुपमा तस्या शिखाया मध्ये परमात्मा व्यवस्थितः स ब्रह्म स शिवः स हरिस्सेन्द्रः सोऽक्षरः परमस्वराट् हृदयं सत्यं परं ब्रह्म पुरुषं कृष्णपिङ्गलम् ऊर्ध्वरेतं विरूपाक्षं विश्वरूपाय वै नमो नमः ॐ नारायणाय विद्महे वासुदेवाय धीमहि तन्नो विष्णुः प्रचोदयात् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ
Om, the God of infinite heads, the eyes of the universe, the source of all existence. This universe itself is Narayana, the imperishable God and the highest goal. The highest of all, the eternal, this very universe is Narayana, the destroyer of sins, the Purusha, upon whom the universe and all this subsists, the ruler, supporter, and protector, the Lord of all the souls, the eternally permanent, the auspicious, and the strong-willed is Narayana, the great one worthy of knowing, who is firmly devoted to the souls of all the beings in the universe. Narayana is Brahman, the supreme reality. Narayana, the transcendental one. Narayana is the supreme effulgence. Narayana, the transcendental one. Narayana, the supreme meditator absorbed in meditation. Narayana, the transcendental one. Whatever all this manifestation is, seen or heard of, from within and without, pervading all, Narayana is established in that. The infinite, the indestructible, the seer, the omniscient, who is established in the oceans to the end, the source of the universal existence, in whose lotus-like heart chamber all desires remain withdrawn. A span below the vocal cords and above the navel, shining like a flaming garland, is the abode of the Great One who resides in the whole universe. Surrounded on all sides by arteries, in the lotus bud of the heart, which is turned upside down in a subtle aperture, wherein is found that which is established in all. In the middle of that space within the heart is the great flame of the universal fire, the eternal, with faces everywhere and tongues in all directions, and firmly established is the all-knowing and the imperishable one, consuming all the food offered to him and digesting it into himself. Spreading all around, sideways, above, and below, his rays heat up the whole body from head to toe. At the center of that flame is the tongue of fire, as the highest among all the subtle things. Shining like a flash of lightning in the middle of the dark rain-bearing clouds, slender like the awn of a rice seed, yellow in color, it glows like a small atom. In the middle of that glowing flame is ensconced the Supreme Self. It is Brahma, it is Shiva, it is Hari, it is Indra, it is the imperishable, the supreme, and the self-existent. Salutations again and again to the one who forms everywhere, the truthful one, the supreme Brahman, the highest being, the one who is dark and yellow in hue, the one who is fully celibate, and the all-seeing one whose form is the universe. Om, we come to know Narayana when we meditate upon Vasudeva. To that great one may Vishnu direct us. Om, peace, peace, peace.
Let's give a big round of applause for the Vedic chanting team. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome on this very auspicious occasion of Sri Ramakrishna's birthday. It's wonderful to see all of you here. We have a special program planned. We've got a number of songs on Sri Ramakrishna. We've got 11 speeches by devotees as well. So let's plunge in. So Shamarish ji will sing the opening song, which is, it's a Bengali song called Esheche Nuton Manush, and it was composed by Devendranath Mojumdar, a lay disciple of Sri Ramakrishna. I'm going to read an English translation and then he'll sing the song. Oh, come and see a novel man. He carries detachment and discernment on his two shoulders. He repeats mother's name while bathing in the Ganges. And he says, O divine mother, one day has passed, but you did not appear before me. He taught the atheists and the ignorant in simple words. She who is Kali is also Krishna. The only difference is in the name. Water is given different names: aqua, water, pani, and body. Similarly, Allah, God, Jesus, Moses, and Kali are the same entity, but called by different names. He, raising both his hands, invites all to come. With care, I have brought the boat to take you over this material world.
এসেছে নূতন মানুষ, দেখবি যদি আয় চলে। এসেছে নূতন মানুষ, দেখবি যদি আয় চলে। এসেছে নূতন মানুষ, দেখবি যদি আয় চলে। তার বিবেক বৈরাগ্য ঝুলি, বিবেক বৈরাগ্য ঝুলি, দুই কাঁধে সদা ঝুলে। এসেছে নূতন মানুষ, দেখবি যদি আয় চলে। শ্রীবদনে মামা বানে পড়ি গঙ্গা সলিলে। বলে ব্রহ্মময়ী গেল মাদিন, ব্রহ্মময়ী গেল মাদিন, দেখা তো নাহি দিলে। ব্রহ্মময়ী গেল মাদিন, ব্রহ্মময়ী গেল মাদিন, দেখা তো নাহি দিলে। এসেছে নূতন মানুষ, দেখবি যদি আয় চলে। নাস্তিক অজ্ঞানী নরে সরল কথায় শিখালে। যেই কালী সেই কৃষ্ণ, যেই কালী সেই কৃষ্ণ, নাম ভেদ এক মূলে। এসেছে নূতন মানুষ, দেখবি যদি আয় চলে। অ্যাকোয়া ওয়াটার পানি বাড়ি নাম দেয় জলে। অ্যাকোয়া ওয়াটার পানি বাড়ি নাম দেয় জলে আল্লাহ গড ঈশা মুসা আল্লাহ গড ঈশা মুসা কালী নাম ভেদে বলে এসেছে নূতন মানুষ দেখবি যদি আয় চলে দুবাহু তুলিয়ে ডাকে আয় রে তোরা আয় চলে আয় 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 রে তোরা আয় চলে দুবাহু তুলিয়ে ডাকে আয় রে তোরা আয় চলে আয় 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 রে তোরা আয় চলে দুবাহু তুলিয়ে ডাকে আয় রে তোরা আয় চলে যতন করি পারের তরি যতন করি পারের তরি বেঁধেছি ভবের কুলে এসেছে নূতন মানুষ দেখবি যদি আয় চলে তার বিবেক বৈরাগ্য ঝুলি বিবেক বৈরাগ্য ঝুলি দুই কাঁধে সদা ঝুলে বিবেক বৈরাগ্য ঝুলি বিবেক বৈরাগ্য ঝুলি দুই কাঁধে সদা ঝুলে এসেছে নূতন মানুষ দেখবি যদি আয় চলে এসেছে নূতন মানুষ দেখবি যদি আয় চলে এসেছে নূতন মানুষ দেখবি যদি আয় চলে
Let's give a big round of applause for Shamarishji. Our first speech will be delivered by Bindu. She will be speaking on the topic of Sri Ramakrishna, Master Storyteller.
Pranams to Swami Sarvadevananda, all our Swamis, Matajis, and dear devotees. In India, oral storytelling has been a primary means of transmitting wisdom for millennia. Sri Ramakrishna followed this tradition, much like earlier sages and religious figures, including the Buddha and Jesus. His stories had universal appeal because they often drew from everyday life, fishermen, farmers, householders, and kings, so that people could see their own experiences reflected in these lessons. His simple but profound stories could reach people at all levels, bypassing intellectual arrogance and speaking directly to the soul. My favorite story is the one about the woodcutter and the sage. A poor woodcutter lived by selling firewood. One day he met a sage in the forest asking for advice and was told, "Go forward." In Ramakrishna's time, many spiritual seekers were satisfied with limited progress, thinking they had reached their goal. Now, the woodcutter took the advice and ventured beyond his wood. He began, to his surprise, he found a sandalwood forest. Realizing the value of the fragrant wood, he began selling it and became wealthy. He went back to the sage for more advice and again was told to go forward. This time he went further and discovered a silver mine. Then, as he continued deeper, he found gold, then diamonds. What started as a simple search for wood led him to immense wealth. This story emphasizes the importance of going deeper in one's journey, whether in the material life or spiritual pursuit, rather than settling for initial success. Here, the Guru's guidance is often subtle. The sage didn't give the woodcutter detailed instruction, only a simple phrase, "Go forward." Similarly, spiritual teachers may not always provide step-by-step guidance, but their wisdom leads to transformation when followed sincerely. Sri Ramakrishna tells a story about the musk deer. In the Himalayas, there is a deer, the Kasturi Mriga. that produces a rare and fragrant musk in a gland near its navel. The deer, enchanted by the beautiful fragrance, wandered through the forests and valleys searching for its source, not realizing that the scent came from within his own body. Like the musk deer, people search for God outside, in temples and scriptures, without realizing that divine bliss is already within them. Sri Ramakrishna used the story of the Homa bird to illustrate the idea of spiritual aspiration and detachment from worldly temptations. This story was relevant for monks and serious spiritual seekers, encouraging them to remain focused on the highest goal of God realization without getting caught up in material distractions. The Homa bird, according to legend, is born in the highest realms of the sky. From the moment of birth, it never lands on earth. If it drops an egg, the egg must hatch mid-air, or it will be destroyed upon hitting the ground. This illustrates that just as the Homa bird belongs to in the sky, the soul's true nature is divine. Engaging too much in worldly attachments can make one forget one's real purpose and lose spiritual progress. Sri Ramakrishna told the story of the elephant and the mahout to teach the importance of balancing spiritual wisdom with practical common sense, to correct misunderstandings about non-duality, Advaita, Vedanta, where some believed that since everything is God, they could ignore worldly dangers. In this story, a student of Vedanta was deeply convinced that everything is God. One day he saw an elephant coming down the road. The mahout, the elephant trainer, was shouting, "Get out of the way, this elephant is mad." The student thought, "Why should I move? God cannot harm God." He stood his ground. The elephant grabbed him with its trunk and threw him aside, injuring him. Later, when he complained to his guru, the teacher smiled and said, "Yes, everything is God, including the mahout. Why didn't you listen to God's voice telling you to move?" While God is in everything, one must use discernment and wisdom in spiritual life. Blind faith without common sense is dangerous. Last but not the least is the story of the painted cloth. A cloth had been dyed with many different colors, red, blue, green, and yellow. Now, someone wanted to dye it pure white. But no matter how much they tried, the previous colors kept showing through. The only way to make it truly white was to first bleach out the old colors completely. Sri Ramakrishna used this story to show how deep-seated impressions, samskaras, and worldly attachments prevent a person from realizing their true divine nature. Sri Ramakrishna encouraged people to remove the old colors of ego, desire, and arrogance, and ignorance, so that the mind could fully reflect divine purity. Sri Ramakrishna's stories simplified profound spiritual truths and served as powerful tools to inspire self-reflection, convey the essence of devotion and wisdom, and guide seekers towards deeper spiritual realization. Thank you.
Thank you to Bindu for that wonderful speech, giving us a taste of Sri Ramakrishna's inimitably charming and profound stories, which have so much spiritual and philosophical significance. Next up is Devayan. He will be speaking on the divinity of human beings. Where is he? Okay, there it is.
Pranams, everyone. Jiva Shiva, Shiva Jiva. These two words, in one way or the other, have really made a profound impact on my life. Finding Ramakrishna for myself has been one of the greatest experiences that I've lived through without even knowing that I was ever going to find it. When the soul is bound, it's mistaken for as part of the dream, but when it's liberated, then we know that Shiva is the true. Not saying that, I've had that type of experience, but what I'm saying is finding that particular light in everything is what keeps us connected. So take these scenarios in mind. A parent caringly loving for their child, a hungry person asking for food or money, a rude driver driving through traffic causing an accident, or a student preparing for a bright future. Behind all these things are the light of God. Through our day-to-day life, it is easy to become caught up in the dream, identifying with the story and forgetting our truth. And so, what can we do, or what can I do to help with this? How can I remember God all day long? How can I stay in that light and that spirit? I was given a book by Maharaj Swami Sarvadevananda, and it had Mahavakyas, and one of the ones that really helped me out was Seekest thou God? Then see him in man. His divinity is manifested more in man than any other object. Man is the greatest manifestation of God. There are several ways I feel that we can go about this, but in my particular case, I found it in service. Not only does it help requiring putting down the ego, so that way you can keep a humbler mindset, but also the light, I feel like it shines a little bit brighter when you are in that service. As before, when I had that mindset of me, you get nothing but pain, or at least I felt nothing but pain. But as I was finding that service, it was about thou, giving it out instead of trying to take it in. No matter what we see or do, it cannot be done without God's say-so. The world has many moving parts, sometimes seems unfair, and on the end, applying it to service to God, how can you not find that harmony? That's what I was looking for, was that harmony within the being. Between the stimulus and response, there's a space, and that space is freedom. So we always have that choice. It is from that freedom and that space that I choose love, that I choose that service, and that's why I'm very thankful that I found Ramakrishna, the impact in the way that it's found in my life. All I can say is thank you.
Thank you, Devan, for that moving speech on Sri Ramakrishna's and Swamiji's teachings on the divinity of human beings and how that's inspired his own life. Next up is Kaushik Ji. He will be speaking on Sri Ramakrishna as Ma Kali.
Well, pranams to all. What an insignificant person like me can say about Ramakrishna, whose glory even Vyasa, Valmiki cannot adequately measure. We all know that these are the famous words that came from Girish Ghosh on the Kalpataru day, which actually triggered the bhava of Kalpataru in Ramakrishna, right? So, if you can think that a personality like Girish Ghosh has that kind of an attitude talking about Ramakrishna, what would this body feel like? But I kind of take this as an offering to our beloved Thakur and on his birthday, and I sincerely thank Swami Medhananda for giving me this topic, and Swami Sarvadevananda ji, Mahayogananda ji, all the Matajis, the Maharaj, and my fellow devotees for this opportunity to talk on this subject. So let us dive directly into the topic, right? Let's go to the year 1882, October 28th. It was a Saturday, and it was a semi-annual celebration of Brahmo Samaj, Keshav Chandra's Brahmo Samaj at Shinthi, West Bengal, right? Thakur came around in the afternoon, and he participated in the kirtan and dancing for the whole afternoon. And the whole mood of the entire crowd was so ecstatic with Thakur participating in it. And at the end of all that, Thakur prostrated on the ground and he uttered the word, we all know that, Bhagavat, Bhakta, Bhagavan. Well, this trinity of Bhagavat, Bhakta, and Bhagavan is a threefold equation. Whereas we know that as the bhakta practices more and more of the Bhagavad, attaches him or her to more and more to Bhagavad practices, he gets closer and closer to the Bhagwan, right? And the more the person really makes the effort, he comes closer to the devotee. And if, closer to the Ishta. And if the devotee is Thakur Ramakrishna himself, you can well imagine that he would certainly be the Ishta, right? Which is Ma Kali. That's how I kind of think. And it can be elaborated a little bit like this from the, Thakur's life. That when, after days and days of longing for Ma Kali in the Dakshineshwar temple, he got extremely frustrated that he was not getting the darshan of Ma. And he grabbed the sword from the idol's Ma Kali's hand and he wanted to chop off his head because he was not getting what he has been striving for. And we all know that, lo behold, Ma Kali appears before him. And what was Thakur's reaction to this? In his own words, he said, I saw a limitless, infinite, effulgent ocean of the bliss. It was she who had become everything, the utensils of the worship, the altar, the door frame, the men, the animals, and all living beings were all pure spirit consciousness. So Thakur would offer prasad to the Mother Kali, and at the end of it, start eating it himself. He would start decorating the Ma Kali, and as he is decorating, he starts decorating his own body. So he kind of loses the identity between his Ishta and himself, right? So this is like the first signal or indication that the devotee has totally merged with the subject of devotion, which is Ma Kali for him. So now similar things, I think, could also be observed where this could be affirmed. This particular topic is, we can talk about April the 13th. It was the day of Mahasamadhi, the year of Mahasamadhi, April 13th, 1886. Surendranath Mitra, one of the very senior devotees of Ramakrishna, he came from the office running almost, carrying malas, the garlands and sweets and prasadam. He was supposed to take it to the Kali temple at Kali Ghat because it was the Bengali first day of New Year, Poila Boishakh. And it was also a Tuesday, the Mother's Day. But instead, while he was getting the offerings, he decided, what the heck, the Thakur is Ma. So he actually rushes to Dakshineshwar, lands at the feet of Thakur and says, you know what, I felt that, it is here where I can get the true mother. And that time Thakur, as we all know, this was the year of the Mahaprayan, so he was unable to speak, but he acknowledged that, right? So that acknowledgement is another affirmation when the bhakta, Surendranath says that, hey, you are Kali yourself, and all these, my offering actually is coming to you, is from me to you, right? So that's another incident. The second thing was, I would say, is very quickly, is about Motur Babu. We all know that, he was in the Kutibari. There's a very famous incident where he was, he could see Thakur pacing up and down, and, all of a sudden he sees that Thakur, while he's coming towards him, he is appearing as Ma Kali, and while he's going back, he is Shiva. So, and that is like another incident which we could kind of say that, Motur Babu kind of saw Thakur as Ma Kali himself. And the final affirmation, I will say, I'll end very quickly, is the day of the Mahasamadhi, August 16, 1886 at Koshipur, where Sharoda Ma rushed to the master's room and cried, "Oh, Mother Kali, why have you left me?" So when the Jagat Janani and everybody's mother declares that the master is no other than Ma Kali, so all the doubts should basically subside there. So I know it's a very esoteric subject, but I think with devotion, with the instructions, following the instructions of the Guruji, one can certainly reach to the conclusion that not only Ramakrishna was Ma Kali, but as Ma Kali, but he was actually Ma Kali herself. Thank you very much.
Thanks to Kaushikji for a really provocative, thought-provoking speech on Sri Ramakrishna. There's a certain kind of playful paradox that Kali was Sri Ramakrishna's Ishta Devata, his preferred form of God, but arguably he himself was Kali. And I think he makes a nice case for that. Shuprabhama will be singing a song now called Tumi Brahmo Ramakrishna. It's a Bengali song composed by Sharat Chandra Chakraborty. And the translation goes as follows. O Ramakrishna, you are Brahman, you are Krishna, you are Rama, you are Vishnu, you are Jesus. You are the embodiment of all gods and goddesses. You are the divine ground as well as everything in this entire universe. You are also the formless absolute. Assuming a human body, you have conquered lust and greed. You are a limitless ocean of compassion. You are the friend of the lowly. I bow down at your lotus feet, praying for one drop of your infinite grace. Shuprabhama, please, you can come right here.
Vishnu Pranaram, Tumi Vishnu, Tumi Jishnu, Prabhu Vishnu Pranaram, Tumi Brahma Ramakrishna, Tumi Krishna, Tumi Ram, Tumi Adhe Adhar, Tumi Brahma Nirakar, Tumi Adhe Adhar, Tumi Brahma Nirakar, Tumi Nar Rupadhar, Tumi Nar Rupadhar, Vijita Kanakakam, Tumi Brahma Ramakrishna, Tumi Krishna, Tumi Ram, Tumi Brahma Ramakrishna, Tumi Krishna, Tumi Ram. Aparo Karuna Sindhu, Tumi Nath Dinabandhu, Aparo Karuna Sindhu, Tumi Nath Dinabandhu, Jache Indu Kripa Bindu, Jache Indu Kripa Bindu, Charune Kuri Pranam, Tumi Brahma Ramakrishna, Tumi Krishna, Tumi Ram, Tumi Vishnu, Tumi Jishnu, Prabhu Vishnu Pranaram, Tumi Brahma Ramakrishna, Tumi Krishna, Tumi Ram.
Thank you so much to Suprabhama for that beautiful song. Swapnama will be giving a speech now on Sri Ramakrishna's love for humanity.
pranam to everyone. Om Sthapakaya cha dharmasya sarvadharma swarupine avatar varishtaya Sri Ramakrishnaaya te namah. Thakur's love for humanity was limitless. He often said that human beings were the highest manifestation of God. We have all heard many stories, read many accounts, and seen many instances of Thakur love for people. Thakur couldn't bear to see anyone hungry. He always found food for those in need, often giving his own food to others. Sharada Ma also exhibited the same compassion throughout her life, starting from very early childhood. Rani Rashmuni also dedicated her life to fulfilling Thakur's wishes. And after Rani Rashmuni, Shejo Babu, Mathur Babu continued this legacy. One instance I particularly love is when Mathur Babu and Thakur were traveling to Kashi, Varanasi or Banaras, where I born and brought up. They stopped in Deoghar, where Thakur saw many hungry villagers. He asked Mathur Babu to arrange food, blanket, and oil. Mathur Babu expressed concern about the cost, as he needed money for their journey. Thakur responded, "Okay, then you go Banaras, I will stay here with them." Moved by Thakur's dedication, Mathur Babu arranged food, blanket, and oil, and satisfied everyone. After this, Thakur continued to Banaras very happily. In Banaras, Thakur experienced many visions and samadhi. One day, while traveling by boat to see all the ghats, he entered samadhi and saw Lord Shiva. Let me read a couple of lines from Swami Prabhavanandaji's book, Journey with Ramakrishna. One day, Mathura Mohan took Sri Ramakrishna on a boat ride on the Ganga to see some of the 5 holy places of city. Of them, Manikarnika is great importance to the devotees. As the boat approached the burning ghat of Manikarnika, the air was full of smoke from several funeral pyres. Just then, Sri Ramakrishna was blessed with a strange and grand vision. In his own word, our boat was passing the Manikarnika Ghat on the Ganges when suddenly I had a vision of Shiva. I stood near the edge of the boat and went into samadhi. The boatman, fearing that I might fall into the water, and cried out to Hriday, "Catch hold of him, catch hold of him." I saw Shiva standing on that ghat, embodying in himself all the seriousness of the world. At first, I saw him standing at a distance. Then I saw him approaching me, and at last he merged in me. The master's description recorded by Swami Sarvadevananda gives further detail. He said, "I saw a tall, white person with tawny matted hair walking with Solomon's steps to each pyre in the burning ghat, raising carefully every jiva and imparting into his ear the mantra of Supreme Brahman. On the other side of the pyre, the all-powerful Mahakali was untying all the knots of bondages, gross, subtle, causal, of the jiva produced by past experiences, and sending him to the invisible sphere by opening with her own hand the door to liberation. Thus did Vishwanath, the divine Lord of the universe, endow him in an instant with the infinite bliss of experiencing non-duality, which ordinarily result from the practice of yoga and austerity for many cycles. Does this fulfill the perfection of the jiva's life? I pray to Thakur to bless all of us with Chaitanya awareness, and I hope we all will learn to help others in any way we can. Let me end this, my voice is dying, but let me end this with a line from Tagore's song. "Oh Lord, I was sitting on my porch lazily, and did not wash your path with my tears. You came from far, far distance, and there was so much dirt on your path that hurt your feet. I am so unfortunate that I was sitting on my porch lazily and I did not wash your path. কেন চোখের জলে ভিজিয়ে দিলে না শুকনো ধুলি যত পার হয়ে এসেছো মরু নাই যে সেথা ছায়া তুরু পথের দুঃখ দিলেম তোমায় গো এমন ভাগ্য হতো কেন চোখের জলে ভিজিয়ে দিলেম না শুকনো ধুলি যত
Thank you to Swapnama for a wonderful speech on Sri Ramakrishna's love for humanity. Next up is Anthony. He'll be speaking on Sri Ramakrishna on equanimity.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Maharaj. I'll start by describing the dictionary definition of equanimity and then compare it to what Sri Ramakrishna was getting at and represented. Dictionary definition: mental calmness, composure, and evenness of temper, especially in a difficult situation. But it actually goes far deeper than that. What equanimity is and what Sri Ramakrishna embodies is the state of balance and equipurpose and all and nothing that has always been from the beginning. It's non-differentiation. In Swami Vivekananda's words from the Rig Veda, then there was neither aught nor not, nor air, nor sky, nor anything. What covered all, where rested all. There death was not, nor deathlessness, nor change of night and day. The Vedas say gloom existed in gloom. This is tranquility and calmness as it was before the projection of the universe. The glory be that I learned as a child in catechism says, as it was in the beginning, is now and ever shall be. This is equanimity, non-differentiation. And Sri Ramakrishna describes it as a state of experiencing indescribable calmness through self-contemplation and renunciation of the personal self. This man not only retires from the world outside, but also withdraws from the worlds he is creating within. In the words of Swami Parananda, perhaps a very near parallel to that indepicable calmness can be experienced in the dreamless sleep. In dreamless sleep, we get an idea, although yet a little vague, of what equanimity is. All creation is rushing back to gain this equanimity, this disturbed balance, though unconsciously. So the state of equanimity is a very high one. It's beyond the three gunas. To reach it, one has to go past the things that bind man to this earth. Sri Ramakrishna compares those gunas to robbers. The first one, tamas, kills. The second one, rajas, leaves you bound. The third one, sattva, releases you, but cannot take you to your goal. There was an allusion to the fourth guna in the song. So bliss can reign only in a place undisturbed. In that infinite bliss, there is no movement, as in the beginning of creation. That is why we are called on to cultivate equanimity. Sri Krishna describes it in the Gita chapter 2, verses 55 and 56. When self annihilates all desires arising in the mind and is satisfied in one's own self by the self, then alone that one is called a man of steady wisdom. Unperturbed in calamity and unattached to happiness, devoid of attachment, fear and anger, such a one, given to contemplation, is called a man of steady wisdom. That man is satisfied in oneself by the self. No outer agency is required. And as Sri Ramakrishna says, it's like the appearance of the dawn in the east, showing that the sun will rise before long. So it's not the final state, but it's the appearance. And Sri Ramakrishna teaches that we need God realization, attainment of samadhi, so that we're not attracted to the lower life. The seeds of desire are burnt, their vitality to germinate is lost. He gives the example of the magnets, a big magnet and a small magnet. Which one will attract the iron? The big one, of course, God. The other one is lust and desires. And the smaller magnet can attract so long as you're away from the big magnet. And he puts the concept very directly, and he is talking about attainment of equanimity. People shed jugfuls of tears for their wives, children, or money, but who weeps for God? He who longs for him certainly will find him. Cry to him with a yearning heart. But to obtain equanimity, you also must practice discrimination. Don't go for what's impermanent. Lust and gold is impermanent. God is the only eternal substance. What does a man get with money, food, clothes, and a dwelling place? Nothing more. You cannot realize God with its help. So you're trying to discriminate between what's real and unreal and detach from all material things. So how do we attain this state? Well, the mind cannot dwell on God if it is immersed day and night in worldliness, in worldly duties and responsibilities. It is most necessary to go into solitude now and then and think of God. To fix the mind on God is very difficult in the beginning, unless one practices meditation in solitude. Then he talks about using the name of God to purify yourself and does all sorts of things to detach yourself from the world. Then he discusses 6 centers of yoga and compares them to the 7 planes, and this is where I'll wrap it up with equanimity. In the 6th plane, the aspirant still sees God, but there's a barrier. But then you have to go beyond that. The salt doll has to go into the water and merger, undifferentiation. And that is the state of perfect equanimity. A knower of Brahman becomes Brahman. An illumined person's will is merged in the universal will. He acts as a perfect instrument of God. Hence, whatever he does is really an act of God. And that is Sri Ramakrishna's interpretation, in my opinion, of equanimity. Thank you.
Thank you, Anthony, for giving us a kind of fresh take on Sri Ramakrishna's understanding of equanimity, linking it to concepts like longing and even realization. Next up is Tara. She will be speaking on Sri Ramakrishna and Hanuman.
Hi. I wanted to stop to make sure I keep track. What is that? To do honor to Hanuman, not take for granted, because I love him so much, that I know for sure what Sri Ramakrishna is. So I did a deep dive. Look at all the places that I found Sri Ramakrishna talking about Hanuman. And the main thing that kept coming up was his faith. And his faith was a specific, it's focused because of his work on understanding. So like first he's just knocked down devotee. And he admits, and when I forget who I am, I'm just serving. But when I remember who I am, I see that I'm a part of you. But then he goes the distance and merges, so he knows that too, that he is that. But he loves the devotion so much he comes back and wants to serve. So it's that focus that I found different stories that I had never heard by doing this deep dive, which he kept talking about faith. And this is so sweet. I just want to put this in. Sri Ramakrishna says, if a man has faith in God, then he need not be afraid, though he may have committed sin, nay, the vilest sin. It's a nice thing to remember when we scroll. And he tells of 2 times when he himself was in a threatening place, in a storm, on the road. And he talks about how he calls the names of the deities, all the different deities. He was calling on them all. And then he puts in both times, and then I also called on Hanuman. So he doesn't put them on the same level. And that, it comes back to like, Hanuman is the one, he has the ring in his mouth of Sita's. It's like he can bring the message. He's the one in the door. So he's our go-between to connect us. And he talks about this another story with this wrestler, and Hanuman is the one that the wrestlers pray to. And he prayed and he sacrificed, and the other guy's beefing up, getting strong, and this fellow just keeps doing his chanting and his service. On the day he fasts, and he wins because of his devotion, his faith in Hanuman. And then he tells the story of another fellow who builds a mud hut, and he calls on the deities, all of them, even calls on Hanuman. But it's about saving something, a something. So that becomes the lesson that if you're praying for stuff, you might not always get what you want. He had to get out to save himself and not just think about the house so much. Now, the other aspect of the faith is that, and his devotion, he distinguishes the devotion of Radha, that ecstatic devotion, that bhakti, from the servant and the Hanuman, because Hanuman's devotion does include knowledge. And Radha's just all blessed out, which is great, but it doesn't have that, like, I want to understand too, and to distinguish not blind faith, but bringing the wisdom to it, which I'd say is very important for our times now. Wise faith, not blind faith. And again, he says his love for God was mixed with knowledge. There was always that knowledge going with it. I would say my timer, I didn't set it right, so I don't know how. I have a minute. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll take it. So the storm on the road. Oh, another one where how Hanuman so beautifully helped. Guaka, forgive me if I'm saying his name wrong, he was the one that ferried Rama and Sita away and across the river when they were going into their exile. Thank you, Garua. Okay, and he was an untouchable, and Rama hugged him before he went off, and he said, "I'll be back." And then, after 14 years, and 14 years had gone by, and Rama wasn't back yet. I guess it was the beginning of the 14 years, and he had built a pyre to burn himself, because what? If Rama, the faith, if Rama was going to be destroyed, then he didn't want to live. Guess who comes? Hanuman. He comes to let him know, yes, Rama is coming. Don't destroy yourself. So, does that cover it? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tatara, for that lovely speech on Sri Ramakrishna and Hanuman. I'm surprised you didn't mention that he practiced Hanuman Bhava during his sadhana period, to the point where he was so deeply identified with Hanuman that he grew a coccyx. It's quite interesting. But of course, there's only so much you can say in 5 minutes. Now, Shongita Ma will sing a song, Shiva Shiva Mahashiva. I'm going to read the translation and then call her to the podium. Shiva Shiva, the great Shiva, his name shines as Sri Ramakrishna. Brahma, Vishnu, and all the gods are illuminated by Sri Ramakrishna's divine name. Kartikeya, Ganapati, Vishvakarma, the universal essence Sri Ramakrishna, the eternal deity of all ages, the sacred name of the Supreme Brahman. Sri Ramakrishna is the supreme yogi embodying righteousness and sacred duties, prosperity, asceticism, the supreme divine mother, Mahadevi, and the supreme lord, Maheshwara, granting liberation and well-being as the ultimate deity of all gods and goddesses. He is Durga, Shiva, the eternal truth, the greatest, the ruler of the highest of the high, encompassing both wisdom and form while also being the infinite void, the enlightened divine. He is the supreme master of time, beyond time, the great cosmic time, Mahakala, the fierce and protective mother, Kali, Shyama, and the eternal flow of existence, Nityakala, as well as the embodiment of both illusion and truth, the ultimate reality, and the supreme deity, Lord Maheshwara. He is also Narayana, the primordial Lord bearing the conch, discus, mace, and lotus, and Sri Ramakrishna, the Adi Deva, the supreme ruler of all gods. The divine savior of the fallen, the beloved Lord of Sri Sharada, the father of the universe, and the refuge of the lowly and distressed. He is the protector, the initiator of wisdom, the supreme giver of all, desired by all beings, ever unwavering in consciousness, and the supreme ruler of the divine realm. Through his divine vision, one attains eternal meditation. Through contemplation, liberation is achieved. Through remembrance, one's birth is purified, and through surrender, one attains the nectar of immortality. Sri Ramakrishna and Sri Sharada, two, yet one in heart, bless the earth with divine love, ultimate liberation, and spiritual fulfillment. Shongitama.
Pranam to Thakur, revered Swamijis and audience. Shiva, Shiva, Mahashiva, Shiva Ramakrishna Nam, Brahma Vishnu Sarvadeva Rāmakrishna Diptanam, Kartikeya Ganapati Vishvakarma Vishaman, Yugadeva Rāmakrishna Rāmakrishna Brahmanam, Shiva Shiva Mahashiva, Shiva Ramakrishna Nam. Dharma Karma Lakshmi Yogi Mahadevi Maheshwara Moksha Shema Sarvadeva Devi Sri Yogishwara Durga Shiva Satta Sreshta Sreya Sreyadhishwara Yani Sthula Mahashunna Ramakrishna Bodhishwara Shiva Shiva Mahashiva Shiva Ramakrishna Nam. Kala Kala Mahakala Kali Shama Nitya Satta Satta Parama Satta Deva Sri Maheshavash Shankha Chakra Gada Padda Dhari Sri Narayana Adi Deva Rāmakrishna Sarvadevananda Shiva Shiva Mahashiva Shiva Ramakrishna Nam Patita Pavana Deva Sarada Sri Prananatha Jagata Pita Shriman Adhame Abhayasthan Raksha Diksha Sarvadata Sarvajipa Bhiprita Nirvikalpe Chitta Sthita Brahmalokadheshwara Shiva Shiva Mahashiva Shiva Ramakrishna Nam Darashane Nita Dhyana Manane Mukti Lava Smarane Janama Shuddha Nirbhare Amiya Love Jugale Abhinaridi Rāmakrishna Charada Prema Joge Mukti Mokshe Dhanna Sri Bashundhara Shiva Shiva Mahashiva Shiva Ramakrishna Nam.
Thanks so much to Shongitama for that beautiful song. Now Prashanjit ji will be speaking on Sri Ramakrishna's universal love.
Pranams to monks and Swamijis, and hello everyone. I think, one of the most known emotions that human beings demonstrate is love. Ever since the origins of humankind, you'll see that love has been the search of human beings. So much so that there are songs saying, all you need is love, right? And Maslow, who is one of the most famous psychologists, he, in the hierarchy of needs, said, love actually is what you need. He listed love as a need. And what I'm going to talk about is Sri Ramakrishna's definition and practice of love. What is the fundamental difference between the love that Maslow talks about and the love of Sri Ramakrishna? We all know Maslow's love, right? We have loved cars, spouses, kids, jobs. There's decay, loss, death in all of those relationships. Anything that's made of matter, mind, and in time will decay, right? We know that, but we don't remember that. We keep going around in that vicious loop of seeking love, getting love, celebrating love, and then losing that love, and then seeking therapy. So what I'm going to, in the remaining time I have, what I'll share with you is Sri Ramakrishna told us or showed us that there is a permanent love that we can find in this world. And how do we get there? First thing Sri Ramakrishna did was he was completely devoted to Mother Kali. He saw nothing but Mother Kali in his entire world. He even said Mother Kali taught him about Brahman. So Mother Kali was everything for him. And that sort of intense devotion, after he realized Mother Kali and realized Brahman, he demonstrated that love towards the disciples that came to him, to Holy Mother, to everybody that came to him, he showed that love and caring. And what I'm going to talk about is that is the universal love. Swami Vivekananda actually talks about it. He kind of gave a definition of this love. He said love, there should not be any bargaining in love, there is no fear, and love has no competition. If you see most of our love that we do in the worldly life, it actually has that bargaining, it has that rivalry, it has that fear. That's why it is suffering decay. So the quick question is now you'll say, okay, fine, we get it. How do we practice that? Is it possible to practice? And I'll tell you, we practice it. And I will guarantee that all of you that come here during pujas, and today is one of those days, you are happy to be here. When you are here, you actually smile at each other. Even if you don't like each other, you still smile. Even if the kid that is bothering you, you show up with the kid and you land up loving the kid here. And now I'm going to share what the trick is, right? Step number 1, Sri Ramakrishna said, is love God. When we come here, we see Sri Ramakrishna, we fall in love with him. Then we have our loving monks and all the loving devotees. So this place becomes full of love. We are not seeking love. Love is not all you need. You just need to give love. That is the foundational misunderstanding. When you seek love, it will be impermanent, guaranteed. We all know that. I don't have to guarantee that to you. We know that, right? But when you give love, that is permanent. But then within that, you will find that, well, yeah, I gave permanent love, but still that did not exist. So let's talk about what exists. We actually chant this mantra, right? Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam. What is the point of that? When you love God, you're not seeking love from God, you're loving God. That completes you. When you get complete, you feel Purnam, then the whole world feels Purnam, including you, because you're not seeking anything. Just like a well is not thirsty, a river is not thirsty, you won't be thirsty for love. That is foundationally what Sri Ramakrishna taught us, that love God, then go to the world. And then you will see that there is love in this world. Well, but there are still toxic people in this world, so you'll still have this doubt, yeah, that all sounds good, but a lot of toxicity. So, so I would say that, when you look at a flower, rose is a very beautiful plant that actually teaches you how we can practice this in real life. Most of you know that rose plant actually has thorns. But when you talk about rose, does anybody talk about the thorns? Even if the plant has one rose and 1,000 thorns, you still say that is a rose plant. Look at the beautiful rose. So in our life, we need to actually look at the roses and avoid the thorns. They'll always be there. They're part of the creation. Why bother about them? Just treat it as part of creation. And lastly, I will say that you can take all of this, and one of the things I thought was would it be interesting to do in our life and practice in our life, right? We actually practice self-service with Shivo Gyane Jivo Shiva, knowing that the self is in every individual, you actually serve them selflessly. What I would say, actually there is a Upanishad, in Brihad Aranyaka Upanishad 2.4.5, it actually says that you should love, the husband should be loved not for the husband, but the self in the husband. The wife should be loved not for the wife, but the self in the wife. So I would use that concept and say, Ishto Gyane. Ishta is a chosen ideal that you love intensely. Once you know that everybody is a sibling for you because they're all children of Ishta. Ishto Gyane Jivo Prem. Jai Sri Ramakrishna.
Thank you to Prashanjit ji for a very illuminating talk on Sri Ramakrishna's universal love. Sri Ramakrishna's love was so boundless that we had 2 talks on Sri Ramakrishna's love, but they didn't overlap with each other. And now we will invite Krishna to the podium. Krishna will speak on how a motorcycle accident brought him to Sri Ramakrishna.
Well, hello. I don't normally speak on microphones, and I don't have a speech prepared for you, but I'm glad to be here. So, in 2018, I was going home for a lunch break on work, driving as fast as I could to get home, like most people do, and I hit a pothole, which landed me into a wall at 130 miles an hour. I broke almost every bone in my body. I woke up 2 months later, not sure what's going on, wanting my leg back. I didn't understand how that was gone. But all I knew was, this is all my fault, this is all my fault. I've lived so recklessly, I'm ashamed of what I've done. I don't even know where to begin. Well, that wasn't the complete wall that I hit. My kids and my wife left me, everybody left. And I thought, well, this is life and it's terrible. So I sat at home for years, trying to meditate, pray, wishing I knew God in any way. I never found God in the ways I was looking for. I picked up my first book called How to Know God, and I thought, wow, that's a really, really good book. Then I picked up Spiritual Teachings from Swami Ramananda, which became the Eternal Companion. And then from there, I kept getting these little yellow cards that said the address to this place. So I just kept buying books from the website and what they recommended. And it's been a few years now. I've done research on Ramakrishna, and when the truth speaks, and we know it's the truth. And I don't have much of a speech other than that, but living life recklessly, how some of us do, the little I versus the big I, not knowing that God resides in all of us, or who God was. I didn't live my life with care or meaning, so now I do, and I understand serving people through my being is exactly how I want to know God, and I want everyone else to know God. Is that 5 minutes? Great.
Thanks to Krishna for that very moving personal reflection on how he came to Sri Ramakrishna. Next up is Narayana. I asked him for the title of the talk, and he said, it's a surprise. And so, please welcome Narayana.
I wanted to be able to move around the world as I'm giving my talk. So the subject of my talk is not even a leaf moves except by the will of God. And Ramakrishna spoke this in December of 1882. He was talking to the devotees, and he said, "A man becomes liberated in this life when he knows that God is the doer of all things. Once Keshab came here with Shambhu Malik. I said to him, not even a leaf moves except by the will of God. Where is man's free will? All are under the will of God." So not even a leaf moves except by the will of God. So this particular leaf moved, blew off the family tree in Chicago and landed over here in Hollywood in 1969. And it was about a mile from here, very close to here. And that was the beginning of my spiritual journey. And within a short time, I moved to Ojai, California, which on my map is already about here. And I was walking down the street one day. I was just walking along, and it was a beautiful residential street. and there were a lot of big oak trees. And all of a sudden there's a crack, and a huge oak tree just snapped and fell over, right directly across from where I was walking. And it didn't hit a car or a house or anything. It fell on the sidewalk. And not a leaf. Even a leaf doesn't move without the will of God. So from there, fast forward about 20 years, and I'm in India, way over here, but not in front of Ramakrishna, so that's not good. But I'm in India, and it's my marriage day. And there's a couple on this, they celebrate weddings in India, at least in the ashram I was in. And there was a couple on the stage, friends of ours named Uma and Namdev. They were Westerners, and they were singing to us in celebration of our wedding. And then, so it turns out that we moved to upstate New York, about an hour from each other, and both of our wives got pregnant and delivered sons in the same hospital on the same day, like about 12 hours apart. So their son was named Siddhartha, and mine was Uddhava. And they became fast friends. So they used to travel to visit, because we're about an hour apart. So what we do is we'd meet in Ellenville, which is, if you know where that is, about half hour away from their house and my house. And we would exchange kids. You know, they would stay at our house for 1 week, and then, for the weekend. And then we'd meet again in Ellenville and go back. Well, one particular day, it was an incredibly beautiful fall day, and the sky was crystal clear blue, and there was a tree with golden leaves on it, and the wind was blowing, and there was a shower of leaves coming down when the wind would blow. So we ran out of our car and tried to catch the leaves, and we're just running around trying to catch the leaves, and they're like knuckleballs or whatever, if you know what knuckleball. It's like what a pitcher throws to strike somebody out, and it jumps all around. Well, anyway, it was just a beautiful experience. Not a leaf moves without the will of God. So the next scenario is about another 20 years later, and once again I'm in Ojai, and I'm taking a walk in the beautiful spring day, and I look up in the tree about 200 yards away, and there's a crow way at the top of the tree. I'm just looking at the crow, and I'm walking along at an even pace, and the wind blows, and what I think was a leaf comes from the crow, but it was not a long black feather. It was just a small downy feather, and it was floating, and I'm looking up at it, and I'm just walking along, and I go, wow, wouldn't it be cool if it blows over the top of my head? And lo and behold, it blows over the top of my head. And I look around, and it starts to circle around. And I'm just walking still, and I put out my hand, and the feather actually dropped into my hand without me slowing down or moving or grabbing it. And it was just an incredible moment. And I said, this is a 1 in a million chance. How could this happen if you had 10,000 crows with 100 feathers all blowing at once? Would even one land in my hand? I don't think so. Not a leaf. Even a leaf doesn't move except by the will of God.
Thank you to Nara. Thank you, Narayana, for that really creative and beautiful speech on Sri Ramakrishna's teaching. Not even a leaf moves without the will of God. Last but not least, so we have one more speech followed by a song and a closing speech by revered Sarvadevananda, and then the final closing song by Shomarush and chorus. So the last speech will be given by Ellis, and he will be speaking on Sri Ramakrishna on living in the world.
Pranam Swamijis, Matajis. Good afternoon, everybody. Is it just me, or does the spiritual journey feel like more questions than answers most of the time? Once I feel like I have an answer to something, a new question arises. But lately, my question has often been, how does one work towards the goal of life, towards moksha, towards God realization, with true focus and true sincerity, but at the same time be fully engaged in the world, as we call it? Life with all of its responsibilities and concerns and what may feel like opposing principles at times. While turning to Sri Ramakrishna, I found so much wisdom in his teachings on this topic, way more than I can cover right now. But today I'd like to just touch on 5 points that he gives that I think create a practical and actionable guide for living in the world as a householder and reaching the highest goal. So the first point he gives is to develop discrimination. Sri Ramakrishna says, you must practice discrimination. Lust and gold is impermanent. God is the only eternal substance. What does a man get with money? Food, clothes, and a dwelling place. Nothing more. You cannot realize God with its help. Therefore, money can never be the goal of life. That is the process of discrimination. It's important that we understand the difference between the essential and the non-essential. Sri Ramakrishna doesn't say that money is evil or pointless here. He doesn't even say that it's illusory, but he does say that it's non-eternal, that it doesn't in and of itself lead to the goal, and so it cannot be treated like the goal. Many times in life, we find ourselves treating something that's not the goal like it is the goal, and discrimination helps us to realize and correct that. Practically speaking, if something in life does help us towards the goal of God realization, then it deserves a special emphasis in our day-to-day priorities. For instance, spiritual practice. We should strive to give spiritual practice an adequately prominent place in our lives. The good news is, even our day-to-day activities can be turned into spiritual practice, but that is a topic for another talk. But it's related to point 2, which is detachment and renunciation. Sri Ramakrishna says in one place, I ask people to renounce mentally. I do not ask them to give up the world. If one lives in the world unattached and seeks God with sincerity, then one is able to attain him. I visualize this concept of mental renunciation as holding on to something, but holding it loosely. Loosely because by exercising discrimination, you understand its non-essential nature. You're not attached to the act of holding it because you've renounced the idea that it is the goal. And I think that this is key for aspirants in the world. To renounce mentally, to live unattached, in my mind, that is a highly subtle way of living, and it's rife with potential for self-deception. It's not easy. And since mastering this takes work and time, we need a quick strategy for dealing with the stubborn aspects of our nature, like our habits, our samskaras, which leads to point 3, which is actively redirect your thoughts, emotions, and desires. Thakur says, if you cannot get rid of temptation, direct it toward God. Be infatuated with God's beauty. If you cannot get rid of pride, then be proud to say that you are a servant of God. You are a child of God. Thus, turn the 6 passions toward God. To consciously practice this takes awareness, and the very act of being aware of these feelings and trying to turn them towards God takes away their power, and at best transforms them into something much greater. Point 4 is to prioritize time away from the hustle and the bustle of life. Sri Ramakrishna said, even if one lives in the world, one must go into solitude now and then. It will be a great help to a man if he goes away from his family, lives alone, and weeps for God, even for 3 days. Even if he thinks of God for one day in solitude, when he has the leisure, that too will do him good. We're very fortunate here that the Ramakrishna mission allows devotees to stay at many of its ashrams for no or low cost to help facilitate this. And a retreat doesn't mean taking some Instagrammable trip to Bali on a beachside. Sri Ramakrishna told one disciple, even if you go half a mile away from your house, the point is that it should be spiritually immersive. No phones, no work, just concentrating and focusing on the goal. And the fifth point is prioritizing holy company. I could say a quote here, but I think that if you are in this building, you already understand how important it is and the benefits of associating with fellow aspirants and great teachers. But with all that said, there's one more thing that Sri Ramakrishna said that seems to trump all of these other actions. And it's as follows: through earnest prayer, one receives the grace of God and realizes him. So if nothing else, pray and keep the goal in sight. And by his grace, we will all have our questions answered and realize the goal. Thank you.
Thank you, Alice, for that extremely well thought out guide, really, to how to lead a very spiritually oriented householder's life based on Sri Ramakrishna's teachings. And I just want to give a little brief note of appreciation to all the 11 speakers today for really a wonderfully varied range of speeches on different topics relating to Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna was so vast that you can pick any topic and just go on for a long time. Next up is Nāma. You're all my mothers, of course, but she happens to be my flesh and blood mother. She's going to sing a Bengali song. It's called Jetrisha Jagile, composed by Swami Purnatmanandaji, who's the head of Dhaka Center in Bangladesh. And the song was set to music by Balabhadranandaji, who's an assistant general secretary in Belumat. I'm going to read the translation, and then I'll welcome her to the podium. That desire that makes me lose you, do not awaken that desire in my heart. That love that makes me forget you, do not delude me with that kind of love. That lamp of knowledge that hides you, do not kindle such a flame in me. That pain and suffering that make me long for you, do not take that suffering away from me. That addiction that takes me away from you, do not let any such addiction arise in me. That happiness, the pursuit of which makes me forget you, do not drown me in that ocean of worldly happiness. Those words in which you are not present, do not let me hear any such words. Those tears that make me long for you, do not wipe those tears away. The longing that awakens only to lose you, do not let that longing arise in me. That desire that makes me lose you, do not awaken that desire in my heart. Nāma.
Pranam, Thakur, to all the revered Swamis and Matajis and dear devotees. Jetrisha jagile tomare harabo, Shetrisha amar jagayo na. Jetrisha jagile tomare harabo, Shetrisha amar jagayo na. যে ভালোবাসায় তোমারে ভুলিব, যে ভালোবাসায় তোমারে ভুলিব, সে ভালোবাসায় ভুলায়ও না। যে তৃষা জাগিলে তোমারে ভুলিব সে তৃষায় আমার জাগায় না যে জ্ঞানের দীপ তোমারে লুকায় সে জ্ঞানের দীপ জ্বালায় না যে জ্ঞানের দীপ তোমারে লুকায় সে জ্ঞানের দীপ জ্বালায় না যে যাত না পেলে তোমারে লোভিব সে যাত না মোর হরিও না যে নেশায় আমার তোমা ছাড়া করে সে নেশায় আমার জাগায় না যে সুখ লোভিলে তোমারে ভুলিব সে সুখ সাগরে ভাসায় না যে কথার মাঝে তব কথা নাই সে কথায় আমারে শোনায় না যে আঁখি ঝরিলে তোমারে লোভিব সে আখির ধারা মুছায় না যে তৃষা জাগিলে তোমারে হারাব সে তৃষায় আমার জাগায় না যে তৃষা জাগিলে তোমারে হারাব সে তৃষায় আমার জাগায় না
Thank you to Nāma, my mother, for singing that beautiful song. And now I welcome revered Swami Sarvadevananda ji to give the closing speech, and then we'll conclude the entire program with the closing song, Rāmakrishna Sharanam. Maharaj.
We were spending a wonderful time for last 1 or 2 hours almost, and actually it's a immersive experience to see Sri Ramakrishna in so many facets and so many ways, and to understand the main teachings of Sri Ramakrishna, to contemplate on that for last long time, and from the standpoint of every devotee, how one looks at it. Lastly, all the synopsis has been given Ramakrishna's teaching. The 5 points we have heard. Equanimity we have heard. All these ideas of Sri Ramakrishna has been explained from Samadhi down to their day-to-day life. It is more of our responsibility to apply in our life. There was Swami Sankirtanam who was my guru. So he was very person of a very little talk. He will not speak much, very grave and strong personality. So many people will come, and one person came and asked him, Maharaj, gives me some advice. And Swami said, advice? Did you read Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna? Yes. If Gospel of Ramakrishna cannot give the solution of your question, then I cannot do anything. Go and read Gospel. And actually so, that is, Gospel is an explanation of all our problems and questions. We can really solve our spiritual questions and how to live in the life also. It is, spirituality is such a thing. It needs to practice. Sri Ramakrishna gave us a new light to look at the world, as we just heard in so many ways. That God is the reality. In which sense? God is embedded into everything. And how to see that God, that is a lifelong struggle. But effort is to be made for that. It is called sadhana. And Sri Ramakrishna's life is more emphasized on your practice and practice. How to practice that spirituality, how to practice to see God everywhere, how to see not the other aspect, focusing on the reality of life, and how to not think this world as magic or illusion, but it is a wrong interpretation of the thing. There is something, but I am saying wrong. It is God, but I am seeing as a human being. So how to elevate our consciousness into that, that is Sri Ramakrishna's call. Sri Ramakrishna has come to give us a direct touch of God in our day-to-day life. And that's why this Ramakrishna movement has started by him to this idea of Shiva, Jnana, Jiva, Shiva, etc., whatever we hear. It is not that it is God is to be achieved. God is already there. Only our problem is that we do not recognize that. We are blinded at the reality of that truth, and it is here with me. I am speaking, I am talking, I am seeing, I am interacting. I am feeling sad, I am feeling joy because of that reality. But I am trying to search it outside and outside and outside. And this search is good, even it is good. Outside search is good, but Sri Ramakrishna points it out to search inside more. And as much inside, so much outside. So it is a holistic way of Sri Ramakrishna's teaching given to us. And his life is the example how to live a life in the world, be in the world, but totally detached. Like the lotus leaf does not gather any water. It looks like the water is standing there, but there is no touch of association with it. So that is the extreme state, and that comes after realization. But Sri Ramakrishna stands for that, and he has come down only to give this message and to make it a realistic point, not a theoretical idea that it is some imaginary high notion and concept, but it can be practiced, and that joy can be experienced in life. So you are listening for last 2 hours. I don't want to extend anything. Again, you will have to listen to me and another half an hour again. So please get released from that. better now have a cup of tea. But main thing that I appreciate firstly, the Methananda to organize such a wonderful thing, and also every participant to focus on such ideas that it is to see that even the leaf does not move by God's will. Thakur has said, but I can reflect on that. We heard the different stories of Sri Ramakrishna's life. Anywhere we touch, we can get so much deep insight into Sri Ramakrishna's teaching and lesson. We can make our spiritual progress from any point of our understanding about the teachings of Sri Ramakrishna. And to find that reality within is the goal. But how to go? Gospel, gospel, gospel. And Swami Vishuddhananda, our president, he was after Sankirtanam Swami, he was the president, 9th president. He used to say, always reading gospel was a very favorite subject of him. He used to always talk about gospel, gospel, gospel. And we are young boys then, we used to go and see. He used to say 3 things in the gospel: Dub dao, jhap dao, egiye poro. 3 words to remember: Dub dao, jhap dao. Plunge into that idea of God consciousness. Jhap dao, dub dao, dive deep. Jhap dao, dub dao, egiye poro, and go forward. So these are the 3 words in Sri Ramakrishna. Wherever we are to plunge into it more and more, to go ahead and dive deep, dive deep, dive deep. So we crave the blessings of Sri Ramakrishna so that our life becomes meaningful. Thank you, and thank all the participants. Thank you again. And reflecting on that, it makes our life blessed. Thinking of Sri Ramakrishna in any way, it makes our life blessed. Our mind becomes purer. Okay, thank you all.
Thank you so much to revered Sarvadevananda. My humble pranams for his inspiring words and his blessings. And finally, we wrap up the program with the song Rāmakrishna Sharanam. It's a very well-known song. The lyrics are very simple. The gist is, we take refuge in you, O Ramakrishna, who are an infinite ocean of love and grace. And it's going to be Shomoresh ji leading, along with a chorus.
With hello, Pranam to Thakur Swamiji. Let us all sing Ramakrishna Sharanam. In the morning it was sung, but no harms repeating it. Well, Ramakrishna Sharanam, Ramakrishna Sharanam, Ramakrishna Sharanam, Sharane. Ramakrishna Sharanam, Ramakrishna Sharanam, Ramakrishna Sharanam, Sharane. Prabhu Kripa hi Kevalam, Kripa hi Kevalam, Kripa hi Kevalam, Sharane. Prabhu Kripa hi Kevalam, Kripa hi Kevalam, Kripa hi Kevalam, Sharane. Ramakrishna Sharanam, Ramakrishna Sharanam, Ramakrishna Sharanam, Sharane. Sharanāgataham, 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 Sharane. Sharanāgataham, 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 Sharane. Ramakrishna Sharanam, Ramakrishna Sharanam, Ramakrishna Sharanam, Sharane. Namo Sri Gurave, Namo Sri Gurave, Namo Sri Gurave, Namo Namo, Namo Sri Gurave, Namo Sri Gurave, Namo Sri Gurave, Namo Namo. Ramakrishna Sharanam, Ramakrishna Sharanam, Ramakrishna Sharanam, Sharane. Ramakrishna, Ramakrishna, Jaya Jaya Ramakrishna, 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 Ramakrishna Sharanam, Ramakrishna Sharanam, Ramakrishna Sharanam, Sharane. Ramakrishna Sharanam, Ramakrishna Sharanam, Ramakrishna Sharanam, Sharane. Rāmakrishna Sharanam, Rāmakrishna Sharanam, Rāmakrishna Sharanam, Sharane, Rāmakrishna Sharanam, Rāmakrishna Sharanam, Rāmakrishna Sharanam, Sharane, Prabhu Kripa hi Kevalam, Kripa hi Kevalam, Kripa hi Kevalam, Sharane, Prabhu Kripa hi Kevalam, Kripa hi Kevalam, Kripa hi Kevalam, Sharane, Rāmakrishna Sharanam, Rāmakrishna Sharanam, Rāmakrishna Sharanam, Sharane, Rāmakrishna Sharanam, Rāmakrishna Sharanam, Rāmakrishna Sharanam, Sharane. Jai Sri Guru Maharaj Ji ki Jai, Jai Mahamai ki Jai, Jai Swami Ji Maharaj Ji ki Jai, Jai Raja Maharaj Ji ki Jai. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.
Thank you. Now refreshments are in the White House, and Maharaj, revered Sarvadevananda Maharaj, will give a speech here at 5:30. So please come back after refreshments. Okay, roughly 5:30. It might be pushing 5:30 Indian Standard Time.